Hey, what's up? So, this is part one of a three-part video about getting stuff out of Lightroom and uploaded to Google Drive and then linked to Canvas so that I can see the work that you are doing for this class. So, there's basically going to be two types of images that we're going to export in this class. We're going to have a work in progress file. If you've been in a class with me before, that file was maybe formerly known as like a top 40 or a top 30 style image. So I want to see your work in progress images, and the minimum is 40. I'll certainly look at more images. You know how much I love to look at photographs. And then we're going to have parameters for your final images as well. So those two types of files, they're going to be the same file type, but they're going to have different sort of size requirements. And so what I want to do is I want to go over that now. When you need to find this out in each assignment, whether you're in Digital 1, Digital 2, or Graphic Design, even if you're in a darkroom class, there's going to be the assignment, and then I'm going to tell you how I want the files, right? So sometimes I might want 20 or 40, or you know, I might say in one place I want 20 and in another place I want 40. We'll figure it out. But I just want to show you that what I'm looking for is I'm looking for a certain file naming convention. So I want you to basically select a custom name with a sequence, and I want you to name it your last name, your first name, the assignment number, that's this A number, and then run a sequence. For our work in progress files, we're going to do a smaller file size, so I want you to do a JPEG at 80 quality in a color space of sRGB, the native color space for the web. And then when you go and resize your images, I want that to be 72 pixels per inch. You'll also sometimes hear me say DPI for dots per inch. That's a print term, but PPI and DPI for our purposes are interchangeable. And then I want you to resize to the long edge. So, of course, my text messaging is connected, and it's going to keep coming in, people. And then you're going to sort of always make a folder structure that's going to be last name, first name, and then the assignment number. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to check that out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the parameters pulled up for the type of file that I'm going to do, okay? And what I want to do for this is I want to do my work in progress files. So I'm going to go into my Lightroom catalog, and you're going to see that this is assignment 1 for me, and I have to export my top 20 f-stop, my top 20 ISO, and my top 20 shutter. So let's start with f-stop. And what I can do is I can press and hold shift to select all of the images that are in my collection. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that, and then I can either go down to this export button here, I can go to file, export. I tend to always just maybe hit export. And now what I can do is I can move this over, and in this window I can sort of see what I need to do. So I'm going to go to my export location, and I'm going to choose folder later, which is useful for presets, and I'm going to show you how to do that in a second. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch my rename to custom name sequence. Excellent. So this is going to be my custom text. It's going to be Schmitz Justin A01, and then these are going to be my f-stop pictures. Now you can sort of name this with anything. If you want to send me something, you can see that for maybe like assignment 2, it's going to be round 1, or you could do like WIP V1, so the first time you send me some stuff, or V2 for the second time you send me stuff, or V3 for the third time you send me stuff. But for this, we're just going to say f-stop, and then I'm going to have my numbers start at 1. Now, just to sort of say, you can order these in your collection any way that you want. So if you were doing this for a final image, you could sort of rearrange those. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that in my file settings that I have JPEG selected. I'm going to change my color space to sRGB, and then my quality I'm going to do at 80. Some people do the slider. It's just a little more work, so I always type 80 right there. Okay. Now my image sizing, what I want to do is I want to resize to fit on the long edge, right here, on the long edge, 800 pixels. We're not going to do inches because inches is for printing, so if I don't specify whether it's pixels or inches, I don't think we're going to export at 800 inches. So I'm going to do 800, which is already set at pixels, at 72 dpi or ppi, pixels per inch. I'm not going to sharpen. I'm certainly not going to watermark. I don't think we need to do any metadata. Now, what I can do is before I hit export, with all of these parameters set, I can click this add button. So do you see over here this add button? I can go ahead and I can click that. And when I say add, I can say assign WIP export. Let's just call this for digital 1, right? So now I know that this is when I'm working on my assignment, this is how I'm going to export my work in progress images. WIP, back and forth. Now when I say create, you'll see that all those settings have saved. So if I go to like another sort of setting, like my Instagram settings, now you will have to go through and when you go back, change the custom text to whatever you want, because if you just keep saying export, 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 it's going to have the same numbers and the same sort of title. So you always want to make sure that you go in and even on a preset, change the custom text. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say export, and it's going to ask me to choose my folder. And so this is really important. So I'm going to go onto my external hard drive. I'm going to go into my work folder. I'm going to go into, I believe I have this in, I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm just going to call this Export Fall 2020. Okay. So I like to use an X because now you're going to see it's going to go down to the bottom of my window. Now I'm going to create another new folder, and I'm going to look back here, and I'm going to see that I want my folder structure to be last name, first name. So I'm going to do Schmitz, Justin, Digital 1. And then inside of there, I'm going to do Schmitz, Justin, A01. And now I know that I'm doing my, so then I'm going to go there, A01, again, hitting the new folder. And you're going to be like, how many folders are you going to make, dude? I'm going to make a lot. I'm going to also now do Schmitz, A01, f-stop, because I'm exporting my f-stops. Now, when I say open, all of these files are going to be exported at those parameters that I set. So it's great because you don't have to sort of go and save and resave and resave and resave. So now I can go down to my final 9, and I've got my final pictures that I'm going to export. So I can do the same thing. I can shift click, and then I can say export. And for, you're going to want to check each assignment, but you're going to see that this has a slightly different parameter. So you're going to see that most things are going to be the same, except I'm going to name it final. I'm also going to change the pixels per inch from 800 pixels on the long edge to 600 pixels on the long edge. I'm going to still keep quality 80. I'm still going to keep those things. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say export. Now here, what it's going to do is it wants me to put them in my f-stop, which I do not want to do. So on a Macintosh, I'm going to go back to Schmitz Justin A01. And I'm going to make a new folder called Schmitz final, I'm sorry, A01 final. Boom. Now I'm going to say create. Now I'm going to say open. And now you can see if I go to that folder, Schmidt's work, go to my export fall 2020. Now you can see that I have all of my 20 f-stop pictures ready to go. And you can also see that my final images are being exported as we speak. So you're going to have to do that for all the sort of different things that I want you to do. So like maybe on this first assignment for Digital 1, you're going to do an f-stop, shutter speed, ISO, and a final. If you're in Digital 2, maybe you're going to do a top 40, or you're going to do a work in progress. If you're in graphic design, maybe you're going to just export to some of the different parameters. So I just want you to see how you can export out of Lightroom. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to take these images and get them ready for our Google Drive folder. Okay. That was a long video. Thanks for hanging with me. Bye.